back, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Going Goddesses, the podcast where we explore what it means to live in our fullest power and presence. I'm Cherry.
And I'm Silver Luna. And today we're diving into a deeply resonant, soul level conversation. What does the collective need right now to heal?
Yes, such a big question. And such an important one, really. We've been feeling it. I know all of us have in our bodies, in our relationships, in the world. It's like the earth and everyone is whispering, we're tired and we need something different.
Yep. So today we're slowing it down. We're listening, we're tuning in to the collective energy, and we're going to share 5 things that we believe are essential for healing right now. Not just for individuals, but for communities, for the planet, and for all of us. We all desperately need it.
Yes, big time. It's been quite a week. So let's start here. Rest. The collective, and we say the collective, we mean society, we mean the people in our community, the world, and yeah, all of us together. And I believe that the collective is exhausted, not just
Mm-hmm.
physically, but spiritually and emotionally as well. I think one of the factors playing into that is that we've glorified hustle for too long.
Yeah, I agree. Burnout, it's become like a badge of honor. It kind of blows my mind how many people are proud to be exhausted because of how much they do and they try to fit into a day. I used to do it. I'm only recently getting past that,
Knitting.
pride of like, oh, I actually feel amazing now that I've been rested. But like, what if rest was actually the real revolution?
Yes. Yeah, seriously. Like so I on the last podcast talked a little bit, or I think 2 podcasts ago, talked a little bit about this life coaching container that I was a part of. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all about abundance. And it was all about how we actually can call in more abundance by doing less. And it's instead of hustling and living up to other people's expectations and grinding and working yourself, down to the bone, directing that energy into tuning into yourself and to your life purpose. And when you're in that vein, that vortex of goodness, when you're, in a place of service and love and gratitude and following your higher calling, that's what actually calls in more abundance. So rest is extremely important, because in order for us to be able to align with our highest selves, we have to take really good care of ourselves. And I believe that starts with rest. So would love to know from you listeners, reflect on this. When was the last time that you gave yourself permission to truly rest without any guilt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like truly rest, the kind of deep soul level rest that your nervous system craves, but it rarely gets. I mean, the kind that's not just taking a nap. It's actually letting your whole body exhale, and it's setting things down, not focusing on anything else in the world, any cares in the world, just strictly yourself.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm like thinking about that right now. Like that sounds really good.
Same.
Just like
Same.
lay there with nothing to do. Especially because yeah, we live in a world, like we said earlier, that worships burnout. We're constantly on. We're expected to constantly be available. Even like the way texting people, it's like text people expect you to text back right away because it's easy. Hey, you don't have to hop on the phone, just write me back. And it's like, I don't want to be available to everyone all the time. Like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to be constantly performing, constantly pushing, never feeling, content or settled, calm. I mean, our nervous systems have been running on high alert for years, and it's not sustainable.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's crazy. Like anxiety, I think everybody that I know experiences anxiety in one way or another.
Yes.
I don't I don't know that it was ever as common as it is now. It's just like it's skyrocketed. I mean, there's so much emotional dysregulation. Everyone has, I mean, not to say that ADHD is trendy, but for a minute everybody was saying that they had ADHD and self-diagnosing, and it's like, hang on a second, let's take a step back and let's analyze the cause. Let's look at the reason for this, not the symptoms. Not it's You're ignoring the fact that you're looking at 20 screens and that
Mm,
you're just running on empty all day long. Exhaustion has become a personality trait for real. People are proud sometimes to say sleep when you're dead.
wow, that is such a like true and good point. And that a lot of the symptoms that we might be experiencing in life, like anxiety, and then these symptoms of anxiety, and same with depression and like physical ailments because you're just going, going, going and never taking care of yourself. Like we're treating symptoms and like diagnosing symptoms as something when we're not actually treating the root issue. And it could be something as simple as resting more. And I think the truth of the matter with rest, healing happens in stillness. I mean, it starts in stillness, and it starts with creating space for your nervous system to feel safe again, safe to slow down, safe to receive, safe to not be doing something all the time. And there's a lot that we all need to heal from, especially I feel like, over the last couple of years. And if we are continuing to just like head down, push forward, and never take the time to reflect on where we're at, how we're feeling, and what we actually need, like the repercussions of that, I think, are massive and long lasting. And they hit you when you don't, like, when you least expect it. You're just going and bam, you hit a wall. And yeah. So if you need any sort of
Mm-hmm.
healing, get still.
Yeah, and that prompts a good question. I want to know from our listeners, what does healing and what does rest actually look like for you? Not what the world says it should be, not what you hear us telling you we think it should be. What do you think it should be? How do you take that time to rest and stop the noises in your head and in your heart whenever you're just on overdrive and ready to keep going? I mean, we all have to do it. And I know I'm really guilty of ignoring those signs because I do want to accomplish more. I want to be productive. I want to be ambitious. But it gets exhausting.
Yeah. And, you know, to that question, I love that because a lot of times, like right off the bat, it's like, oh yeah, rest. Well, I mean, I like reading a book, or like I just watch, my shows at night, or I play a game. But like, let's dig even a little bit further. Like, how can you rest even harder? Like, not talking about the Netflix binge, unless that's actually, what your soul is really calling for. But the kind of rest that truly nourishes your body, like laying in the sun, for example, saying no without over explaining. That's a great way to rest. And I think that, yeah, to touch on that for a second, it's so interesting because we get ourselves really worked up, especially like when we have to say no to someone that like takes a lot more energy out of us than saying yes. And so we say no and then feel like we need to like fill that no with all of these like reasons and explanations to make it okay for the other person. And we're expending all this energy like justifying our truth when we don't need to. It's a no. Sitting in silence, like that might be really uncomfortable, but that's something that nourishes your soul and your nervous system in a way that very few other things can do. And so that's definitely something that's a practice. um, Hugging someone you trust, that's rest. I mean, it's letting someone else hold you for a second. You don't have to hold yourself up in the world. That is so freaking
Mm.
nourishing. Just letting yourself melt into someone. Yeah, that I love
Ah,
that.
those moments are so special. Yes, I love that. And I mean, also sometimes it's invisible. Sometimes the rest is setting the boundaries and
Mm,
not talking to the people that are causing you so much energy expense. It's pausing before reacting. It's leaving that one email unanswered to tomorrow. And I am so I do this all the time. Whenever I get an email in the last half hour of a day, I typically am like, nope, I'm not going to put myself through that mental anguish for I'm not going to start this research to fix this question or whatever. So
Yeah.
I love, and that's like one of my favorite ways to rest. But it's also productive, you know, like at the same time, it's productive because the next day I can log on and I can feel like I'm actually going to make progress and accomplish that customer's question or whatever it is without like feeling rushed or short whenever I respond back.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it's
Like,
and that's holy.
amen. Like, 100% protecting your peace is like one of the holiest things you can do for yourself. And oh, I just had a thought on that. Oh, yes. And so, like, let's say you do get a lot of joy from helping others and giving and go, go, go. And like your plate is super full. And you're like, listen, all of everything on my plate is for other people. It's aligned with my higher self. This is my life purpose. And it's like, that's great. And that definitely like plays into nourishing your soul. However, if you give and give and give and you never take the time to slow down and rest, eventually you'll run out of yourself to give and you'll burn out. And when you take care of yourself and rest, you actually have more of yourself to give. So, like you said, like that email is going to be so much better tomorrow because you're operating from a rested place where you want to do the research and you want to really get to the bottom of the situation or whatever. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. So if your body's asking you to slow down, listen. And that can manifest in many different ways. You know, maybe it is a headache. Maybe it's a little like irritability. Maybe it's confusion, fogginess. Maybe you actually do feel the exhaustion. Um, it's not laziness to slow down. It's a very productive thing, like Silver just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's very productive. It's holy. That's wisdom. That's like you knowing what's best for you. And that's your nervous system knocking gently and saying, hey, I want to heal. This is how I best do it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And your nervous system needs to heal if it's going to be fully productive. If it's going to feel to its fullest extent. If you want to be your most authentic self, your nervous system has to be able to perform, and to perform, it has to be able to rest. So let's reclaim rest as a sacred act of rebellion, of self love, of nervous system healing. You don't have to earn it, and you don't have to explain it.
Ooh, that is so good and so important. You do not have to earn rest. It is your right to rest. You don't have to explain
100%.
it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. You're allowed to just be. And sometimes I think a lot of the time that's like one of the bravest things we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yes. All right. So that was one of five burnout of our society, really. Segment two, something that I think that the collective needs. This is a big one, and we're seeing it everywhere. I mean, just open your eyes or your phone or turn on the TV. And, there's a collective shift happening. It's a waking up, um, and it's rooted in one thing, truth. I think we're seeing people wake up and we're seeing people struggling with not waking up and the toll that's taking on our collective.
Oh my god, that is so true. This one is
Hmm.
such a big one. I wish I could like double click, triple click, quadruple click on this.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a rising hunger for authenticity. I mean, like people are realizing now that there has been so much happening for so long that nobody has known about, that it's just going on behind closed doors. And then there's people that are telling one story and there's people telling the other. Like everybody just wants to know what is real,
Yeah.
what is the real truth, what is mine, what is theirs, what's the noise, what's good, what's bad. It's so hard to even tell anymore, and these days it's like out of control.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I don't want to bring like too much of politics into this or whatever, but when we think about party lines, a lot of people will vote along party lines and people will align with parties based on what their family was like growing up. And or religion applies to this. A lot of people claim a certain religion because that's what they grew up knowing. And it's like, wait, what's actually my truth? Like, what if my truth is not aligned with my parents or my siblings or even my best friends? But so many times we're operating in a way that's aligned with a societal construct and thinking that that's part of our authenticity when it's actually not. It's just kind of blindly following. I mean, there's power in discernment. So, a question to ask yourself is, what truths are you currently unlearning or reclaiming in your life? And what doesn't feel like this feels like me? And maybe eventually when you like dive in a little further, maybe it is you. But a lot of times that's where you can start and really dig into that situation and see if that is actually your truth or not. And then it's okay to change.
Yes, yes, I love this. And it's like, it also poses a question: how do you know when something is your truth and not someone else's projection? It's so
Mm,
easy to hear people say things that would make their life better or that they support. And I mean that in general, and, familial things, politics, work, whatever, all of those, just don't always look at it through somebody else's projection. Think about, is this something that is authentic to me? Does this matter to me? Is this really how I feel about this? Is there a real connection to the purpose? Does this have a real value to me? You want to get to the truth, but you also have to do something radical, and you have to unplug from the programming. I mean,
mm,
there's so much happening all the time, and there are so many people, there are so many corporations, there are so many programs that are constantly trying to be in your ear and tell you to do this or to think that way or to believe this or to buy this. And it's like, you know, people want to know what's real. We don't want to just buy junk anymore. We want to
yeah,
buy things from people that we support, that we're proud of, that we want to embrace in our communities. Like, that's why we support local artists heavily. I mean, if you look behind me, like, our whole house is full of local art.
love that.
Like, it's so important to be authentic, your
Yeah.
own truth.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And it's a fun journey to go on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be definitely confusing because you might find some things that were like such a big part of your life, and then you realize, wait, this is just like something that I did because all my friends were doing it, but I actually don't resonate with this at all. And then to see what does resonate, and then you're like on this, I don't know, like magic treasure hunt or something for like what you love and like what your most authentic self looks like. And I've talked about this before, human design for me was a great way to see all of the ways that I was behaving that were aligned with societal constructs or other people's expectations. And then it gave me a blueprint for myself personally of like how to best make decisions, how to best interact with people, how to best eat or digest information. And a lot of times that was different from the truth that I thought that I knew. And so then I was able to unlearn and deprogram and reprogram myself to be aligned like with my most authentic self. So again, guys,
Mm.
myhumandesign.com or mybodygraph.com if you want to know what your human design is. But it's a great way to see where there might be some opportunities for you to unlearn. Um, and yeah, I think
Mm.
that's really it. But again, I say human design like it's like the absolute truth, and but the most important thing comes from building one of the most sacred muscles that we have, and that's discernment. And
Mm-hmm.
really knowing if the human design stuff like resonates or not, or whatever your truth is, like really building that muscle to know in your heart and soul that that is for you.
Mm-hmm. And I love that description of your explanation with like the my human design. That is essentially discernment. It's the ability to feel the difference between what's real and what's just noise. It's understanding what it should be and what it is, and it's the art of trusting your own intuition. even when the world's screaming that it should be something different. I mean, and let's be honest, it takes practice. Like, it takes a lot of practice and effort and energy to discern what's real and what's not.
Yeah. And to trust yourself, like if you've done something one way your whole life and then your intuition is like, oh, I think we need to do it this way, that is a lot to overcome and to like really trust yourself. I mean, that is definitely, like you said, that's something that we have to practice, practice trusting ourselves, practice tuning into our intuition, hearing it, understanding it, practicing discernment. And I think, a lot of times we've been raised to doubt our inner knowing. Yeah, our parents know better than us. People older than us know better than us. Leaders in society know better than us. That's what we're told. We're told to second guess our gut feelings. But goddesses, your body never lies. Your spirit never lies. So when you start listening in instead of out, that's where the truth lives. And a great way to be able to start listening in is meditation and journaling.
Mm-hmm. That is a great way. But I I do love what you say. Everybody else is thinking the same thing. You know, whenever you start listening to what everybody else is saying, it goes back to like our last episode where we're talking about performance art. Like,
Yes,
everybody else is having these same thoughts too. Just because somebody tells you that you should listen to so and so because they know about X, Y, and Z doesn't mean that you should take that as the absolute truth,
right.
because they have the same thoughts. They just respect that person greatly in that field because they believe that person has something great to say about whatever X, Y, and Z is. You know,
Totally.
so it's a good point. So, listeners, this is a great part to pause and ask yourself right now a few questions. What beliefs have I inherited that don't feel like mine anymore? This is
Mm.
a great question, and it helps you shed those things that you're like, oh, why do I do that? I really don't understand. Where am I pretending just to keep the peace?
Ooh.
This is a big one I've been doing lately. I no longer pretend to keep the peace, which sometimes to my detriment, but also I feel so
No,
much
it's
better
like
with it.
for your peace. You're like, I'm
Yeah,
not keeping
exactly.
your peace, I'm keeping mine. That's all
Exactly.
I
It's actually never to my detriment. Good point.
got.
And then last question, what part of me is craving to be fully unapologetically seen?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's a question I think we should ask ourselves every day. Like
Every
a
day.
great, knowing like what do I need, but like what do I want to be seen for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Right?
great. I like that question a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
so we are, I think, in a season of remembering, of shedding illusions. Like I said, kind of at the beginning of this segment, people are waking up. You can see it happening. And for those that's happening for, it's okay to let go of what no longer aligns. It feels weird. It feels scary. Even if what you used to do used to make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you now, there's no reason for you to hold on to it. Truth evolves like it does. Like you evolve, your truth evolves. And I think that's the path of self-trust is knowing that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we are in the Aries season, baby. It is the time to evolve and take your power.
Woo!
So if you've been feeling that tug and you know that quiet knowing of something deeper is calling you, this is your sign to honor it. Do it now. Like, this is the time. We're coming into springtime. It's the time to start filtering your life through your inner voice, not someone else's algorithm. Start living your life to be your most authentic self.
Oof. More truth, fewer illusions. That's the
Yes,
vibe. I
that
like
is the
that.
vibe.
Perfect. Okay, segment three. Softness is sacred. So let's talk about something that we don't really hear enough, I think, in the self-development world, softness. Like I have heard a few, I guess maybe over like the last year, there's like soft girl era, and I like that. I haven't like dived totally like into all of it, but I love the thought around softness as being a sign of strength and not weakness. Like your softness is your superpower because I think that being soft in a world that taught you to always be strong is truly like revolutionary. Softness is medicine. So many of us, and especially women, have been in survival mode. Like, always have to be strong, always have to be doing, always have to be on. If you're soft, you're weak. Like, I don't know. And it's just like, what if someone could be so soft, they're like cotton candy, but literally like get every single thing that they ever wanted to get done and like achieve all of their goals. Like, you don't have to be this like hard, bitchy boss like person to achieve goals. And I think that's something that's like really been drilled into us, or at least my whole life.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's funny that like soft skills are a thing that have recently come up in the workplace that I've heard of, which is like behaviors and mannerisms. I love soft skills and learning
Yes.
about them. It teaches people to be better people in general too. um,
Yeah.
but I love the idea of incorporating like being soft into your day to day. And the reason I even think about work with this is because it brings me back to a time where I worked at the Cherokee Nation um, casino, and I was walking down the hall, and one of the security guys, like, I smiled as I walked past him, and he was like, "You always smile. I don't think I've ever seen you not smiling."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, thanks. Okay, whatever."
Mhm.
I was like 23 or something. I don't know. And at the time, I was like, "Okay, well, maybe I just smile too much, but whatever."
Oh.
But I always like continued to smile until I went and worked at call centers. And then I
Ugh.
learned how much I hate call centers. And then I hated talking to people. And then when I would get done talking to people and I would get off of work and I would go to the store, I was no longer that person that was happy. Like I didn't
Oh.
smile at everybody. But
Yeah,
now,
like, don't look
and
at me.
yeah, but I learned from like, some introspection and how much I hated working in call centers that it was taking a major toll on my mental health. And it took that away from me. It took that softness and that
Mhm.
joy and that compassion for others away because I was so miserable in my day to day.
Yeah.
And so then I did that work on myself. I left that environment, and now I think I have actually returned back to it today. But healing happens in softness.
Mm.
It's allowing joy and self compassion and laughter to coexist with the shadow work that gets you there.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. That's I love that. Yeah, to allow all of the good to coexist with the shadow work. I mean, we talk about shadow work a lot, I think, on this podcast, but just as important as the shadow work is leaning into your softness and leaning into your joy and finding your light. And so, some good questions to ask yourself, I think, are, where can I soften today? What would it look like to be gentle with myself in this moment? And I have recently gone through a transition for like moving. And whenever I go through a big transition, I have learned to be extra, extra gentle with myself. That means it's okay if I don't work out at all during that time because I know that I need like the extra naps or to just sit and just work on settling myself in like this new space. And so, yeah, like where can you give yourself extra grace? Like where can you maybe drop something from your to-do list? Where can you, yeah, just be
Mm-hmm.
kinder to yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good question. What would it look like to be gentle with myself in this moment? It hits home. Last week was a really tough week on multiple fronts,
Mm,
but one of them being my cat passing, and
mm,
that was in the process. I've been really stringent on my workout schedule, and you just reminded me like that was one of the things I really had to give myself grace and
mm.
say it's okay. I have not been on the treadmill in like 2 weeks now, even though I have a strict goal of 4 times a week. But it's okay because like I've allowed myself that time for the healing and the grieving, and now I feel a lot better. And now whenever it's kind of like the rest we're talking about. Now whenever I go get on the treadmill, I'm gonna be like, yes, let's go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do a 10K today instead.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Like, okay, so I had that like exact experience like this week. So I going through this transition, like workouts dropped. Like I love working out, I love walking, I love all those things, and just needed that time, that hour and a half in my day. And then this week, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna work out. We're gonna do it. And then I've worked out like every day, and it feels so good. I'm so excited about my walk later. Like, yeah. And I don't
Yay.
have any guilt for the time that I gave myself to just chill and rest.
That's
And so
awesome.
that's what it can look like for you guys, you know. Um,
Oh,
so
worth it. Amazing. Yeah, it's not,
yeah,
I mean, healing's not always just shadow work. It's not chasing the next big breakthrough. Sometimes it's just big belly laughs with your best friend. Sometimes it's taking a moment to lay in bed all day and to eat breakfast in bed. Sometimes it's letting yourself sleep in, which actually, that's not necessarily true. I hate sleeping in. Maybe for everybody else, but not for me.
good for you. That's awesome.
I mean, I'll sleep in until like 10:30, but anything after that, I start to feel like I wasted my day away.
I feel that. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love those different things that we can do. And to just like reflect on the statement that tenderness is radical and compassion and self-compassion really is the root of everything that we're reaching for here. Like to have a better life and to, for life to take some compassion on us and to maybe not throw so much shit our way. But when they when it does, we have the tools to come out better and stronger, and to become more whole. And I think at the root of all of this is the knowledge that you have done enough. Like that will help with any of like the guilt of just chilling when you used to be working or thinking that you needed to be productive every single second. You have already done enough and you are enough. And maybe, the most healing thing that you can do is to simply let your heart exhale and to
Mm,
what can you let go of a little bit.
yeah. Yep. I agree. So here's a gentle invitation. Let your body rest. Speak to yourself with kindness. Celebrate your joy without apologizing. And know that you don't have to earn softness. You deserve it. Rest too. Softness is sacred, goddess. Make room for it.
Yes.
Ah, awesome. So, let's move on to number 4 then, which is reconnection in our community. We're not meant to
Mm,
heal in isolation. The world needs reconnection. We need soulful, honest, raw community. We need to be talking with each other, collaborating, building, creating, doing things in tandem and parallel. It doesn't matter. Do it together. Just do the thing.
yes. And how about no more surface level small talk? Like
Ah,
I'm
yes.
over that. I'm craving depth. I think that we all are. We're craving belonging. We're craving to be seen as we are. Listeners, where in your life are you yearning for a deeper connection? Like what kind of community would feel like home to you? How can you get involved with that? I mean, the last few years have been really heavy. I don't think we're getting any lighter. And, like we all survived COVID. I'm so proud of us. But, even when we were able to come back together, and even still, there's so many of us that still feel alone. And that isolation, was physical, but it wasn't just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, energetic, and I think we're still healing from all of that we went through in COVID, not to mention everything else that life has thrown on us.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. COVID just really isolated everybody. It siloed everyone into their own environments. And there were a lot of changes that came from it. I mean, even for me, I'm working from home now, so I'm isolated from my coworkers. But we have our
Yes.
online community, and our teams and whatnot. But like we're not meant to live like that as like a species. We're wired for connection. I am grateful to have teams. I'm grateful to have the resources that we have these days to be able to do our podcast remotely from thousands of miles away. um, it's just it's crazy because I do still run into people that don't get away from the internet. Just get off the internet for a little bit. Like, go
Yeah.
talk to people, real connection, the kind that goes beyond small talk. It goes beyond the reels on TikTok and on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. The kind where you show up with your messy, beautiful self and you still feel like you belong. Go to the community
Mm.
gatherings. I know a lot of places, apparently, it's not just in Tulsa or in Jacksonville. Go to Flow on the River on Tuesday night. I'm sure it's in whatever city because it seems to be everywhere.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's always, it's community based, obviously. Like, each individual city has their own person that has picked it up and hosts their, like, flow night on the river. But it's crazy to think that, like, both cities we lived in, and I want to say Dallas had it too. Flow night and on Tuesdays somewhere in your local
Cool.
city. It's like the
Oh,
thing.
I love that. Yeah. It makes me think that, if any of us are craving community, like we're not alone. Like there's someone else out there that is looking for the community that you, listener, are looking for. I think that we're all craving something deeper right now. We don't need more curated perfection. We need raw, real, unfiltered truth. We need community that feels like a soft place to land so you can bring your raw, real, unfiltered and know that you're going to be safe to share that and to work through the nitty gritty. A strong place to rise and people to help lift you up. We've said this before, like it takes a village. Um, and until you have one, listeners, please join the Goddess Collective because that is a place where you can be raw and real and unfiltered and tell us how we can support you or just share your truth, share what's going on. Um, yeah, we want to be that for you.
Yep, the Guys Collective is a group of people with open arms ready to listen and support in any way we can.
Yes.
Because
On
that's the
Facebook.
medicine. Yeah, that's really where the healing comes from. It's where it multiplies is in community and in giving back and having open arms, open ears, open doors. And
Mm,
when one goddess shares her truth, it creates a ripple. It opens the door for others to say, "Me too. I thought I was the only one." You're never the only one.
mm,
Promise.
yeah. I mean, there's something really sacred that happens in spaces where vulnerability is met with love instead of judgment. That's really where we grow. I mean, that's where we shed masks. That's where transformation gets rooted, really, in those communities.
Mm, yes. So if you've been feeling like you're on this journey alone, we want you to know that you're not. You don't
Mm,
have to carry it all by yourself. There are spaces waiting for your story. There are people praying for your presence. There are people
yeah.
sending you the good vibes and ready to give you big hugs.
Mm. It reminds me of like a meme I saw a few years ago that's like, there are people like just waiting to meet you. There is like, let's say it's like a life partner. There's someone out there praying for you, like right now. They are like craving, they're like, come on, universe, like, where is this person? And it's you. And that is a really exciting thing to think about,
Right.
to like just know that that's the truth. And beyond life partners, like friends,
Yes.
opportunities. I mean, it's out there. It is waiting for you. And another, way to think about it is maybe where can you open yourself up more to connection? Take that little leap of faith to go to the group hang out after work or log on to that Zoom call or join the Goddess Collective. Like where are you create or craving depth? And where could you even create it? Maybe you start the community. Maybe it starts with
Mm-hmm.
just one honest conversation, one brave share, and one invitation to come closer. It's a game changer.
That's so true. If you don't see the community, start it. There are others like you. You are not the only one. You never have to be the only one. Healing is a collective act. It happens faster, it happens deeper, it happens sweeter when we do it together. We need to keep choosing each other again and again. Find your people, build your village, and don't be afraid to go deep because that's where the magic lives.
Yes. I mean, community isn't just a nice to have. It's something that we actually need. And goddesses, you are worthy of being seen, held, celebrated exactly as you are. We said you are already enough and we freaking meant it. So
Ooh,
please join our
ooh.
community. Okay, so we're on our last segment of what we think the collective needs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And number five, finally, is nature. We have become so disconnected from our source of healing. Nature is our source of healing.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yes. Touching soil, walking barefoot, watching
Mm.
the clouds. It's medicine. It's so healing.
And it's like coming home, not necessarily to a place or a person, but to something deeper. I mean, something ancient, like returning to nature where we came from, the earth, our most sacred source of healing. Like, we just there just isn't enough emphasis put on that in so many areas of life. Some of my friends grew up with their parents like totally understanding that like the earth is awesome and like grounding can help with inflammation, like to name one out of a million. Like so many things about nature, and my parents were just like go outside and play because I don't want you inside the house. And there just wasn't like an emphasis put on like how important getting outside is for your health in every sense of the word.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, because I've been thinking about like my Native American roots and like how
Mm,
this is like embedded in me. I should be outside like doing things like in the ground, in the earth. That's how I, or at least that's what I imagine in my brain.
yeah,
But like somehow along the way, like we all forgot, like we
yeah.
as a society got disconnected. I would have to say technology, the rise of technology definitely is to blame for a lot of it. Cell phones, TVs, etc. But like still we traded the grounding for hustling. We traded the
Mm,
intuition for the noise and the rhythm for the rush. Like everybody was so excited to be wanted, to be needed all the time, that it became like the norm. Everybody was
mm,
excited to have the pager because you're needed at work. You suddenly mean a lot, but like, oh yeah, now your responsibility level is like crazy high. Now you're not ever making time to go outside and just enjoy swimming or taking a walk, getting out in the sun. Like with the cat situation, I've had to ask Jesus specifically, like, can we please just take the dogs on a walk? Like, we need to get out.
mm.
We need all of us to get some vitamin D,
Yes.
like nature. She's always there. She's waiting. And when we pause long enough to listen, like, and really listen, she'll remind us that we're not separate from nature. We're all a part of the bigger picture. We all belong, and we need to collaborate, not just as a species. We need to collaborate with the earth. We need to treat her right so she'll treat us right.
Mm, you're so right about that. And yeah, I just think to what you said about, trading grounding for hustle, intuition for noise, rhythm for rush, like all of these things that the earth like has to offer, like healing, literally healing our physical bodies, um, reworking, what is it? So like we have positive and negative ions, and it neutralizes like the ions in our body that are causing inflammation. Not very scientific explanation there, but like there's just a lot that goes on with that. And so, yeah, I mean, and not to mention the vitamin D, which seriously plays into our moods and why we take extra vitamin D supplements in the winter. Like there's so much that nature has to offer and to support us. And we've just I mean, my whole life it was just, oh, this is nature is just like where I live. Like I just, it's just like the outside lands and not actually respecting it for like so much more than just like a tree that gives me wood for a chair or something like that. Like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like another place for like a treasure hunt. There's so much to uncover about nature itself, all of the gifts. Like from the beauty of flowers to like the adorableness of like little animals to like the mind like blowing efficiency of ants and the collaboration of worker bees and like all of that stuff. I mean, there's just, yeah, there's so much. And when we apply, healing or nature to healing, I think that we've learned to treat healing like a checklist. Meditate, journal, breakthrough, heal, repeat. Like, you have to just do these things. But, like, what if healing was as simple as sitting under a tree or walking barefoot or breathing with the wind, watching the moon change, letting it teach us about our own cycles? I mean, that's in addition to all of these other things. Let's talk about like our menstrual cycles for a second, literally aligned with the moon.
It's so
What is
crazy.
that? Like, you're telling me that, like, if there was no one to ever, like, invent a clock, then
Yeah.
nature gave me an internal clock to literally know when the seasons are changing, when we should like plant and harvest crops, literally in my body. And we're like, oh no, I need an app for that. Like, what if you were so in tune with yourself like that? Like, yes, nature really does give us everything that we need, and we make it really freaking complicated.
Right. It is crazy how complicated we make it. Like it just looking outside, there's so much beauty and amazing wonder. Like I was looking at the animals at the zoo last weekend and looking at the
Mm.
giraffes and like how do they get that print? Zebras, how do
Yeah,
they get that print? Like it's crazy thinking about like the Fibonacci sequence and how it just shows up naturally everywhere in nature and like all of these beautiful things that if you just step outside the door of the walls. Like there's so much to learn. There's something sacred that happens when we touch the earth again. When we stop running, when we sit still long enough to feel the ground holding us. Like it's crazy. We just need to reconnect with the earth. It's not just soul care, it's planet care. And it's also how we remember that our healing is part of something much, much bigger. What's your
yeah.
favorite way to ground yourself in the natural world, Jerry?
Mm. I I really like grounding. So just, sitting with my bare feet on the earth. But I also love taking walks. Like, so just, yeah, I think really taking walks and being in nature is, yeah, I love it so much.
Me too. I
What
like
about
both of
you?
those. Yeah, same. Like whenever we had the solar eclipse last year,
Yeah.
Jesus and I went and sat and held hands and like we held hands on one side and held the ground on the other while we watched it pass.
Oh, I love that. We were just in our driveway. But
Nice.
yeah, but it is so cool. I mean, yeah, nature gives us like so not only does it nourish our souls, it literally helps our physical bodies with, vitamin D to name one of a million. But then it provides all the food that we could ever need. Like we never ever need anything processed because nature truly has every single thing. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
it is such a gift, and I think getting back in touch with nature is something that our collective desperately needs. And so,
Yes.
listeners, when was the last time that you let the earth hold you without distraction? I'm not just saying like laying there, but acknowledging that you're being held by this ancient ball of stuff in the sky. Like, um, but you're literally being held by it. And as you're being held by the earth, you're being nourished by it. It is neutralizing your negative ions or positive ions, one of those in your body. And when that happens, your inflammation goes down and you have better circulation in your blood. You're able to heal faster. That just one example. Just trying to convince you guys to get out there, get your toes in the mud. And another
Wow.
pup was like, okay, I'm trying to do that. Oh. Another question is, where can you slow down this week and just be in nature? Like, you don't have to fix something, no yard work, but just receive like what nature has to offer.
Yes, I love that because when we ground ourselves, we remember who we are. And it's the kind of healing that doesn't just change us, it ripples. It ripples into our families and our communities and into the collective.
The more we each root into what's real, the more that we rise into who we're becoming, into our higher selves.
Hmm. Yep. So take a walk, breathe in the trees, watch the sky, and let nature be your mirror. Let it be your medicine and let it be your mentor. I love listening to nature. I mean, that's kind of the one thing I harp on is listen to the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's like when I have a tough day or I've had a hard conversation or I need to work through something, the number one, 100% of the time, best thing for me to do is to go for a walk, get outside, breathe some fresh air, look at the birds, look at the trees,
Hmm.
and just kind of ask, like, what do you have for me? Like, what do you have for me here? And sometimes I get an answer, sometimes it's some clarity on something or an idea comes to me, but um, in addition to getting outside and experiencing it, you're moving that energy and you're letting that energy be cleansed, really, like from the earth and the sun. And the earth remembers, the earth knows you, it loves you. And I believe that she's calling us back.
Hmm. Yep. I agree. Actually, I do have a funny story about taking a walk, real quick. I
Yeah, let's
just
do it.
remembered.
Yay.
I made a video yesterday. Jesus and I were taking a walk with the dogs, and our house is on a street that has a cul-de-sac like on each end. So we had to walk through to get to the outside, and then behind us, back around on the sidewalk to walk down the trail. And every time we get out of our neighborhood and go back around, we pass our own house on the back side, and so whenever we have the doggy bags and they've gone to the bathroom, I'll just toss the doggy bag over the fence into our backyard. It is so funny. I made a video and I'm going to post it. I'll share it to the Goddess Collective because it's
Yeah, please do.
hilarious. But I made a video of us taking our walk yesterday and Jesus tossed it over. And then we like use the phone to look over. Our backyard is just littered with like little doggy bags from
No,
all of the daily walks that we just
no.
toss them in the back as we go.
You're like, I'll deal with that later. We're resting. We're resting right
I am a goddess in progress, okay?
now. Okay, so I took my dogs for a walk the other day, and I didn't bring doggy bags. I forgot it,
Oh
and then of
no.
course Sable took a giant one, and like all of the houses around me, like all of the yards are super manicured, like awesome, and I'm like, please don't let someone walk out right now and yell at me because they see that I'm walking away, and I'm gonna finish this walk with Sable, but then I have Sandy that I have to take on a walk because I can't take them at the same time, so they'll rip my arms off. And so then I take Sandy and I like went and picked it up and it was fine. But I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst part of
Yeah.
the dog walks. Like, and why
Yes.
couldn't you have done this back at home where I don't have to do this? Like, wait for the
Exactly.
walk in someone else's yard. And it was just so much. And it was just like sitting there on this like perfect lawn. And I'm just like, everyone in the neighborhood knows that my dog did that and I just walked away. But then hopefully they saw me come back and get it.
Oh
Which I
my
think was a
gosh. I
good
hope
thing
so.
because I feel like if you walk away from some dog shit, you can just leave it. But I
Yeah.
did come
Well,
back.
and that's always my big fear is like, what if somebody has you on their ring camera or they watch you do that? And like every time I walk by on our walks and throw the bag over the fence, I'm like, how many people have recorded me doing this? And they're like, somebody's tossing dog shit in the back of someone's yard.
It's mine. It's my yard. Oh, it's so funny. I love that. So
uh,
I guess kind of coming to closing, what we've determined that the world needs to heal is rest, truth, authenticity, softness, connection, and nature. And I believe that when one of us works on any of these things, like it ripples out into the collective. So the work that you do, listeners, isn't just for you, you're doing it for the greater good of all of us. So thank you.
hmm Yep, thank you indeed. It starts with each of us, and then it's a domino effect from there. It's very contagious. Healing
Yeah.
is a beautiful art in the most beautiful way. So,
Yeah.
thank you, listeners, for being on your healing journey with us and for sticking along. We've loved having
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love that you said that healing is contagious. I think it is. Like when someone around you is like on their way up, like you can't help but like reap some of the benefits of that, the inspiration, the good energy, like just being around a healed person can heal you. Healed people heal others. Where
Mm-hmm.
they say hurt people hurt others, I think healed people heal others, inspired people inspire others, loving people love others, like all of those good things. So,
Mm-hmm.
goddesses, we've given you lots of questions throughout this episode, and we've picked 5 different themes. So, would love if you would pick one of the 5 themes that we picked about, choose one small way to embody it, whatever that looks like to you, write it down, live it, and then share it with us. We want to know how you're healing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And of course, don't forget to tag us on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube at Going Goddess Podcast and let us know which one of the themes that you're stepping into this week. We want to celebrate you.
Yes. And so, until next time, remember that you are powerful, you are precious, and you are part of something bigger. Healing is happening, and you're a part of it with us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And with that, stay grounded, stay
Stay
glowing,
and
and keep
keep
going,
going,
Goddess.
goddess.